watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Well, thank you for joining us for DC News Now at 4. I'm Mark Hall.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Annalisa Gale. In the district right now, Councilmember Tryon White is fighting to keep his council seat.
Today, council holding an expulsion hearing after voting unanimously to oust the Ward 8 council member over a federal bribery charge.
DC News Now's Marielle Carbone joining us live outside the Wilson building with the latest on where things stand. Good afternoon, Marielle.
Good afternoon, Annalisa. Today's meeting was really just a procedural one. It was the first chance for Tryon White to publicly make his case to his council members about why he should stay on the council. Now, it was tense. There were several outbursts, but ultimately, council is moving forward with this expulsion process.
It's not pleasant for the council to have to discipline a colleague.
In front of his council colleagues and surrounded by supporters, Tryon White appearing for an expulsion hearing.
On behalf of Councilmember Tryon White Sr., he denies those charges and specifications.
White is accused of breaking council code, accepting bribes in exchange for his influence on city contracts. An outside investigation directed by an ad hoc council committee finding substantial evidence he broke city law, pointing in part to a federal indictment against him.
The findings of this investigation by the ad hoc committee, I think, are clear that Councilmember Tryon White Sr. violated D.C. law.
But his attorney, Frederick Cook Jr., arguing the indictment isn't enough.
How do you balance an affidavit or indictment that says you did it against his constitutionally guaranteed right to a presumption of not guilty unless and until it's proved beyond a reasonable doubt in trial?
He also argued the city's Board of Ethics and Accountability should be investigating White, not the council members.
Nowhere in the D.C. Code is the council given any authority whatsoever.
Council has always had the authority to discipline its members.
Tension during and after the meeting erupting, while his supporters maintain council is in the wrong.
We feel that what the council is doing is invalidating the votes of the people of Southeast.
So council will take up this expulsion in a vote during their next legislative meeting. That is next week, set for Tuesday. And if and when they make that final vote, that seat will then become vacant and it will trigger a special election, which will be held by the Board of Elections office. And Annalisa and Mark, we did ask Council Member or Chairman Phil Mendelson if Tryon White can run again during that special election. And he says, as of right now, there's no restriction prohibiting White from running again. Live from the Wilson building, I'm Marielle Carbone, DC News Now.
All right, Marielle, thank you. Meantime, in Prince George's County, we're learning 3 firefighters are recovering from minor injuries following a house fire in College Park. Fire officials telling us it happened just after 1 this afternoon on 49th Place, right off Rhode Island Avenue. No other injuries have been reported. The cause of that fire is still under investigation.
A new directive from President Trump could freeze funding for some government programs starting at 5 p.m. today. That's less than an hour.
Yeah, the White House says individual assistance programs like Social Security, Medicare, and food stamps won't be affected, but Democrats say the impacts could be more broad.
DC News Now's Randy Bass is live on Capitol Hill with the latest on what it means for folks in the DMV. Good afternoon, Randy.
Yes, good afternoon, Mark and Annalisa. Today we talked to several organizations here in the DMV who were set to receive some of those federal dollars. They tell us they are now scrambling, trying to figure out what this directive means for their future. This as both sides of the aisle work to figure out what the president's memo really means. Trillions of dollars in federal spending now in limbo. President Trump pressing pause on money once flagged for things like nonprofit organizations, transportation projects, and research initiatives. But new White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says Americans getting direct federal assistance won't need to worry.
Individual assistance, that includes food stamps, welfare benefits, assistance that is going directly to individuals will not be impacted by this pause.
One disabled veteran from Maryland says she's concerned about losing benefits if Trump's order goes that far.
Worried. I mean, each day it's something new. With all this money that you're supposed to be taking away from different departments, where are they going? Where's my tax dollars going?
Today, Virginia Senator Tim Kaine calling Trump's move illegal, saying some Virginians are now reporting issues with the state's Medicaid portal. Virginia Senator Tim Kaine did tell us today he is expecting several state attorneys general to file lawsuits over the next several hours in a move to try and block the president's memo from taking effect. We'll hear more from Senator Kaine coming up on DC News Now at 5 o'clock. On Capitol Hill, I'm Randy Bass, DC News Now.
All right, Randy, thank you. Well, we're continuing to learn how wide-ranging the impact of this freeze is. Be sure to stick around. We're going to have more reaction from federal leaders in another report coming up in about 20 minutes.
All right, taking a live look outside at the National Cathedral here at 4:06 on this beautiful Tuesday here in the DMV. It's looking nice and bright. Love the sunshine.
I didn't know 50-degree temperatures could be so good. It is after last week. So we're just joined. Let's head over to meteorologist Damon Matson with a first look at our forecast. Damon, how much longer is this going to last?
Well, I think we'll be able to hold on to some of this warmth for a bit of time. That is the good news with all of this. However, we are going to be dealing with some wind as we go over the next couple of days here, folks. More specifically tonight, going into your Wednesday. And we actually just had a new wind advisory put out by the National Weather Service that takes effect tonight. And it goes well into the day on Wednesday, lasting until Wednesday evening for a good portion of the DMV here, mostly the northern half of the region, DC included here in this wind advisory. It is going to be a sharp cutoff. The more south you go, the winds aren't going to be as intense, but the more north and west that you go, it is going to get blustery tonight going into Wednesday. Now, you wouldn't be able to tell. You saw that sunshine right there, and our camera wasn't moving really much at all as we have a bit of a lull right now in the wind. We saw blustery conditions, especially over the mountains this morning. This is the break, and then we are going to get that second wave of much stronger winds that will be more widespread here as we head into the night. So not looking too bad at face value here going through the rest of your evening. Those warmer temps in the 40s and 50s will drop back down into the 30s, but with each passing hour, especially after 7, 8 o'clock, we'll start to notice that wind picking up. So just how blustery is it about to be over the next 24 hours? And do we continue to hold on to these warmer temperatures throughout the rest of the week? We'll have a full look at your forecast coming up here in just a bit.
All right, Damon, thank you. And developing now, President Trump's immigration crackdown is ramping up and spanning from coast to coast. ICE agents say they made nearly 1,200 arrests yesterday alone. That's the most since Trump came back into office. In total, they say that they've arrested more than 3,500 undocumented migrants in President Trump's first week in office. In fiscal year 2024, ICE made roughly 113,000 administrative arrests. It's about 310 arrests a day, with arrests ramping up under the administration. The Border Czar and the White House press secretary say this is just the beginning.
From what we hear on the ground, ICE agents are feeling incredibly empowered right now because they actually have a leader in this building who is supporting them in doing their jobs that they were hired to do, which is to detain, arrest, and deport illegal criminals who have invaded our nation's borders over the past 4 years. That's what the president is committed to seeing.
While officials say the goal is to target immigrants in our country illegally who have committed crimes, critics argue that undocumented migrants who have not committed crimes are also being arrested.
And the list of groups pushing back against President Trump's order allowing ICE agents to enter schools and places of worship is now growing. That includes in Montgomery County, where a chapter of a national organization is speaking out. DC News Now's Kevon Dupree covers Montgomery County for us. He has reaction from that organization.
The local chapter of Showing Up for Racial Justice will hold a rally on Saturday in opposition to President Trump's new immigration order. The organization is now asking county leaders to take a stand with them.
It's a scary time.
Showing Up for Racial Justice member Elisa says she and others are worried about the uncertain future some of their neighbors may face after President Trump signed an order allowing Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, to conduct searches and make arrests in schools and places of worship.
We do have a number of students in this area, especially the Wheaton area, that are immigrants, and we have welcomed them in our schools for years.
The organization has voiced its opposition to the policy, is hoping county officials stand with the group.
We'll be having a rally outside of Kate Stewart, who's the president of the Montgomery County Council, outside of her office on Saturday, and we are asking her to sign on to a pledge.
The policy also concerns faith leaders, including Pastor Will Green.
We're a multicultural congregation, so between 30 and 40% of our folks on Sunday morning are people of color, are immigrants, are refugees.
Green says he's had many discussions since the executive order was signed to prepare his congregation for what may come.
Am I scared for the future of the people who call this place home? Absolutely.
Maryland's Attorney General Anthony Brown issued healthcare facility guidance in wake of the new immigration policy to help healthcare facilities comply with federal and state laws. Reporting in Silver Spring, I'm Kevon Dupree, DC News Now.
Kevon, thank you. In Virginia now, the Manassas Police Department out addressing the community's immigration enforcement concerns. They say rumors about conducting immigration checkpoints or raids are false. The police department says it will not undertake any type of immigration-related investigations. They are not authorized to enforce federal immigration laws and cannot lawfully do so. Anyone with questions or concerns are asked to give the police department a call directly.
Well, staying in Virginia, a controversial bill that could bring a casino to Tyson's is headed to the full Senate for a vote. A Senate subcommittee voted 9-6 to advance the bill. Now, this bill would allow a ballot referendum for voters to decide whether a casino should be built. A poll by the Tyson Stakeholder Alliance Commission shows that 8 in 10 area voters oppose the proposal. However, union groups and lawmakers say that it would bring jobs to the area and money to Virginia's economy.
5,000 union jobs coming to our county would be life-changing.
You have people that have lost money, that are angry, that get in a car in the morning when kids are loading onto school buses and, there's road rage, or they've been drinking all night.
Well, the Senate expected to vote on the bill this Friday. We'll keep you updated.